Back with another episode of Pottawattamie County Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. There's a really cool project that has been going on through Golden Hills RCD, and that is they are 360 mapping trails all through the Loess Hills. In fact, north of Sioux City, all the way down to the Missouri border. And Seth Brooks with Golden Hills is in to tell us about the project, about what they have done, about where you can see these 360 videos, and also just about some of the great hiking that we have right here close to home. So Seth Brooks with Golden Hills RCD is our guest today on Pottawattamie County Roots. If you're looking to grow your business or bring new jobs and investment to Southwest Iowa, Advance Southwest Iowa Corporation is the economic development organization for Council Bluffs and all of Pottawattamie County. Advance connects entrepreneurs, innovators, and established companies with resources, incentives, and strategic support to launch, expand, and thrive right here in our region. From site development to small business programs and community partnerships, Advance Southwest Iowa helps build a stronger local economy. Visit advancesouthwestiowa.com. And Primrose Retirement Community, located in Council Bluffs, believes home should be a place of comfort, connection, and care. From personalized support to engaging daily activities, everything they do is designed to help residents live fully and confidently. At Primrose, that's their priority. Put the quality of their residents' care and daily needs at the top of their list each day and every day. It's not just about where you live, it is about how you live. Learn more at primroseretirement.com and then contact Jamie Bush at Primrose. Discover a place that truly puts people first. Back here in the studios on Willow, this is Seth Brooks, and he is with Golden Hills RCD, and we're going to talk about where you might be able to go hiking today, because you have been very busy mapping some trails for all of us.
So I've been working on a project with my colleague Lance at Golden Hills to trail map all the publicly accessible hiking trails throughout the Loess Hills landform. So from Plymouth County up north of Sioux City all the way down to the Iowa and Missouri border in Fremont County.
That sounds like a lot of walking. It sounds like a rather complicated process. Mm-hmm. These trails that you're mapping, are they known already? I mean, these are trails that we know are out there?
They should all be known, because we tried to focus on, like I said, publicly accessible trails that are maintained. So places that have a trail system, because you can go to some parks and public areas in the Loess Hills where it appears there is a trail, but it's not maintained by the land manager or a volunteer organization or anything like that. So we wanted to focus on those ones that are like maintained trails. It took quite a complicated effort trying to figure out, where to go, when to go. We focused it in the fall. We got most of it done in the fall for the trail mapping project, because we were hiking with 360-degree cameras, because we're going to upload that imagery. We're currently in the process of uploading the imagery to Google, so then that the public can go and view these trails on their computer on Google Street View to kind of get an idea what the trails look like. And also, if anyone's kind of got cabin fever in the winter and they want to, go for a nice hike with fall colors, they can access this imagery once it's finally uploaded.
So the 360 camera, is this something that you have like mounted to like in a backpack or something, so you're not just holding it and walking around?
Well, that was one of the many complicated things to try to figure out. Because we had gotten these cameras from a previous project, trail mapping project that we did in Southwest Iowa. We wanted to, we really liked that experience, and we wanted to do it in the Loess Hills landform. And so when we did that, we didn't have like a backpack or anything. We literally just put these cameras on a selfie stick and extended it. And so we were just walking like this the whole time. Lance did get a helmet and attach his camera to the helmet. But yeah, we looked at other options for like backpack or like waist belts to attach the camera with a selfie stick to, but that just created too much movement, and also at some trails there's some low overhanging branches, and so it was just easiest just to use the selfie stick on the camera, which it did get quite annoying. I hiked probably well over 100 miles carrying a selfie stick with a camera. We had to do it to get the job done. Unfortunately, I couldn't, bring my camera with to take, photographs of hiking or birds because I like to take bird photography because, you know, it was hard with one hand occupied the whole time. So
when you're out there and you're doing this project, about how many miles a day were you putting in, do you think?
I was up to 12, 13 miles a day.
That's a lot. That's a good, strong day of hiking.
That was very strong. And I did develop I had some tendonitis in my ankle, my right ankle before, but this definitely exacerbated the tendonitis. And yeah, it made it painful at times to walk, but it was worth it because it was in the fall. We had great weather almost every day we went out. The fall colors were pretty decent last fall. So we got some really great imagery. But yeah, I mean, you can't complain if you're getting paid to go out and hike 13 miles a day in the Loess Hills. So.
Well, that brings up another question that, yeah, you're out there getting paid to be out there. Can you enjoy it in the same way doing it that way as you would if you were just on a hike on your own to go out on a weekend?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, you know, I love hiking. Before this, I've written 3 hiking guidebooks. You know, I've hiked all over the United States, hiked all over Spain. I lived in Spain for seven years. So just hiking, I have to hike, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just something I have to do. So whether I'm getting paid for it or I'm just doing it for pleasure and my own enjoyment or friends and family, I can find joy out of any hike, whether I'm working or just having fun.
Well, you are a great person to talk to about this then, and about the uniqueness and what we have access to here in the Loess Hills, because you've seen a lot of different places. This doesn't exist anywhere else that I've been.
Yeah, I think one thing I like a mantra I kind of always keep in my mind is comparison is the thief of joy. You know, because we live in Iowa, Western Iowa, you know, Western Iowa, Eastern Nebraska. It's not known for outdoor recreation, you know, besides hunting or fishing. It's just not known as a hiking place. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go to Colorado for the weekend to go hiking. Well, not everyone can afford to go to Colorado or has the time to take off to go to Colorado or any other place.
Or is in shape enough to deal with the altitude if you get out there.
But you can find joy here in the Loess Hills because they are a globally unique landform. You can they're only found one other place in the world in China where Loess deposits has created a new landform. And also just the fact that, you know, Iowa's the most altered state. So we're already at a deficit in terms of going out and finding these public areas. So yeah, it's, and also just the fact that a lot of Iowa's native prairie is gone. And over half of the remaining native prairie that we do have is in the Loess Hills. So the Loess Hills is, in my opinion, the best place in Iowa, the best place in the Midwest to come and experience the tallgrass prairie ecosystem and to go just take a nice hike.
With all of the hiking that you did, and as you said, up to Plymouth County all the way down to the Missouri border, any memories stand out for you as some that maybe you weren't expecting to be, and things that you saw that you weren't sure didn't even know were going to be there?
Not quite, because I had previously just hiked almost all these places. There were some places that we went to that I hadn't hiked before. But kind of maybe a surprise was in the Loess Hills State Forest. A few years ago, they had a wildfire in the Preparation Canyon unit that really affected, you know, the forest there and some of the trails too. And there's one section of trail that was one of my favorites in the Loess Hills State Forest. Well, that's been overtaken by black locusts because of the wildfire. And so the State Forest staff has just decided just to close that trail now. And so I experienced that, you know, when I was trail mapping, because I tried to hike that trail, but it was just impassable. And it was a bummer because, like I said, that was one of my favorite trails. But, you know.
With also, we don't typically have blazed trails here to be able to follow, and you know that you're on the right path. And as you said, sometimes people just kind of, over time, a new trail develops that was never specifically mapped. Did you run into any of that and get off in the wrong direction, or had you experienced enough that just wasn't going to happen?
I think it was a combination of I experienced it enough and I knew these trails well enough. And also before going out to these places, we would contact the land managers, whether it's the Iowa Department of Natural Resources or the County Conservation Board for that public park that we were going to. We contacted them just to see if they had any updated maps. Also, you know, you go to some places and it might look like a trail, but it's a fire break and it's not listed on their trail map. So yeah, that could be instances where people could, you know, kind of get off track. But yeah, I didn't really run into problems. I don't really get lost, whether it's I'm on a trail or driving. It's really rare. So, but yeah, the land managers were really helpful in giving us information and preparing us before we went out to these places, so that we were not wasting our time, and going off on these trails that aren't actually hiking trails. So.
I've been on a lot of trails from Preparation Canyon south. Looking at some of the others, are there recommendations that you would make and say, if you haven't been to this place, go check this out because this is pretty great?
In terms of the state forest?
Yes, in terms of some of the things that you saw.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had never been really hiking in the Pisgah unit of the Loess Hills State Forest, and there were some nice trails there. Also up north in Hillview Recreation Area, they had a really nice trail there. Some of their trails were, they used mulch on the trails, so it was really comfy on your feet.
Yeah, they have that here in town.
Yeah.
At Fairmont Park.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of forgot the question.
Well, just recommendations.
Oh, yeah, recommendations. One of my favorite places, we haven't trail mapped it. I don't know if we will trail map it, but it is going to be included we're going to make a printed trail guide for hiking in the Loess Hills. But we didn't trail map it with the cameras because it's Sylvan Runkle State Preserve. It's in Monona County.
Okay.
It's near where it's very near where they hold the Loess Hills Prairie Seminar every year.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Haven't been, but yeah, I've heard about it.
And there's a bunch of surrounding public land as well, surrounding Sylvan Runkle State Preserve. But that preserve in particular is one of my favorites in the Loess Hills. And it's kind of tricky when you get there because there is a sign, but it doesn't look like there's a trail from the road. But once you kind of get off the road and start walking into the preserve and you get up on a ridge, there's a worn footpath up on the ridge. And it's just beautiful there. They've done a great job of removing invasive species there, removing eastern red cedar trees, and just the views there are great. And the ridges there and the prairie there are just beautiful. And so that's one place that I always recommend people to go. And then maybe some other lesser known areas. Everyone knows about Waubonsee State Park down in Fremont County. That's a beautiful place. But Blackburn State Park, which is managed by the staff of Waubonsee, it's also in Fremont County. It's a little difficult to get to. You got to go down this long gravel road, but it's very secluded, very remote, and just a beautiful place. They only have about 2 or 3 miles of trails there, but it's well worth going if you want to get away and go hike somewhere where you're not going to see anybody. That's a great place to go, Blackburn.
Yeah, you go to Waubonsee, typically people are headed up to that lookout, and they might go down the trail a little way one way or the other, but there's more there than just that little bit.
Yeah.
I think I've been on all the trails at Waubonsee. I think I have, but I'm not, I can't be 100%.
Well, I bet you haven't been because they recently blazed a new trail at Waubonsee. Well, a couple new trails actually, which has been nice. There's one trail that the park staff were able to it was, from my understanding, an old trail that was closed down, and so they were able to reopen it. And so now you can hike Sunset Ridge, which is one of the more popular trails at Waubonsee, in a full loop without having to walk on the park road. So it's safer for hikers now.
Oh, that is new then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that. And
then there's another section that's connecting, I believe it's the Valley and Ridge Trail, that it was last year, I believe, or 2 years ago, the CC Corps, I can't remember the full name of it, but a group of young kids go around Iowa, doing different conservation and trail, not just trail work, but also different conservation projects. They went to Waubonsee and created a new trail that connected Valley and Ridge. So now you can do a loop because it used to be Valley and Ridge were just both out and back. So you had to hike out to the end of the trail and then hike back. Well, this trail connects those two, so you can make another nice little loop there. So yeah, there's a couple new trails at Waubonsee that you could take a road trip down and go explore those.
If I'm on vacation somewhere and out of the area, I personally pull up all trails and take a look and see what's out there. What you're talking about on Google, is that similar? Is it a similar program that you can just go to Google and you can find trail maps? I'm not familiar with it.
So part of this project for the trail mapping with those 360-degree cameras is uploading that imagery, that 360-degree imagery to Google, so then people can see what the trails look like on Google Street View. So it's not like a separate app like All Trails. It's just embedded within Google Maps. And also within Google Maps, you can see the trail overlays. I think they appear as kind of a shaded gray line. And we're in the process of updating all those because, for example, at Hitchcock Nature Center, they have some of those trails on Google Maps, but not all of them. It's not complete because they've added the ski hill, and they've added more trails, and those aren't on there. So we're in the process of updating that, and then you'll be able to see the imagery just by doing the little yellow guy for the Google Street View. So it's a little different. It's similar kind of, but All Trails is different because All Trails people can leave reviews and stuff, and that serves its purpose. But even on All Trails, they have some incorrect trails.
Yeah, they do.
You can get lost by following All Trails. So we're trying to, increase trail access and get these correct trails on these different platforms. We're focusing right now on Google, so we're still in the process of doing that. So some of these parks you might be able to go and see, and they do have the up-to-date trail overlays on Google Maps and also the imagery available. But some places like Hitchcock, we're still working with the data to upload that and working with Google to get the correct information uploaded. So
you put a lot of work into, and your team put a lot of work into all of this, including just getting all of this paid for. I mean, you had to get a grant to be able to put this together and convince the people that are giving the grant that this is a worthwhile project. And is this something that is happening in a lot of other places too, do you feel? And maybe you don't know the answer to this, but to me, it's needed. Yeah, this is a really needed project.
It's definitely needed, just for the fact that grasslands are the most threatened ecosystem in North America, and that's what the Loess Hills are grasslands. And so it's needed to kind of raise that awareness. And so one way to raise awareness is just get people out to these public areas so that they can enjoy them and then also find value in them. So then they'll want to protect them in the future. So as far as like trail map, like kind of what we're doing, I'm not aware of like other places in Iowa that are doing this, other regions in Iowa. So I think it's quite innovative what we're doing. And yeah, we're thanks to the grant from the Gilchrist Foundation based out of Sioux City, we're able to do this project. Also, as part of this project, we gave money to the Friends group of the Loess Hills State Forest, and they're going to use that money to place new signage throughout the Loess Hills, new trail signage throughout the Loess Hills State Forest. So not just at specific like trailheads and parking areas that will give more information to hikers, but also on the trails. There'll be some signs at trail junctions and other important areas so that people will have more, information available to them where they're hiking so that they won't get lost and they can get back to their car safely. So.
From your viewpoint, do we have the appropriate amount of trails in the Loess Hills? Is that number right where we're at right now?
Yeah, I think so. Off the top of my head, in total in the Loess Hills are probably 200 miles or so, probably less than that, between 100 and 200 miles of trails. Just in the Loess Hills State Forest itself, there's at least 80, maybe even more than 100 miles of trails now that they added the Little Sioux Scout Ranch to the state forest. I think that's an appropriate number. I think one thing we could use more is bike trails in the Loess Hills. Here in Pottawattamie County, we're working on that at Golden Hills. We recently hired a trails coordinator, thanks to the support from the county, from Pottawattamie Conservation and the Iowa West Foundation. We hired Charlie Schilling, who's working with the Pottawattamie County Trails Association to just get bike trails developed here in the county and also in southwest Iowa. So yeah, I think there are plenty of places for people to go hike, not just these places that we're trail mapping that have, like I said, publicly maintained trails, but also other places like, for example, Folsom Point Preserve, which is right on the border of Pottawattamie and Mills County, that they have trails there, but they're not maintained, but that's a beautiful place to go for a hike. It's the largest remnant prairie in the southern Loess Hills, 15 minutes from the Council Bluffs Metro.
Yeah, so we have availability here. And typically, if I'm out hiking and if I see other cars in there, they're not Iowa cars.
Yeah, a lot of Nebraska.
We
plates.
get a lot of Nebraska.
Yep.
I see Missouri plates, and people from outside of the region are taking advantage of it. But we don't do as much for some reason. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah, I remember a few days ago, a colleague of mine at Golden Hills called the Loess Hills kind of the backyard of Omaha. Because like when we have at Golden Hills a lot of our events, whether it's like our prairie seed harvests or other events, a lot of people from Nebraska, a lot of people from Omaha, because it's just a quick jump over here, and we've got great trails in the Loess Hills for people to come over and enjoy.
Yeah, there is some hiking on the Nebraska side, but I don't think it's as extensive as what we have here. And so definitely come on over. I'm not saying Nebraska don't come.
Yeah.
I'm saying Iowa residents, let's get out and take advantage of what we have here locally.
Yep,
and,
bring your dogs.
It's did you run into a lot of folks while you were doing this, or was it pretty solo for you?
It was pretty solo, which was kind of, I mean, it wasn't surprising because most of the time I was hiking during the week and during the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, most people are working during that time. But I did run into a few people, and it was nice to talk to them because they were curious because there's like, who's this guy out there walking around with a selfie stick, hiking? And so they'd come up to ask me, what are you doing? And I, would tell them the project that we're working on. I remember this one group, I don't remember where I was. I think I was actually at Hitchcock. And they came up and they talked to me, and I told them what they're doing. And I said, oh, that's really great you're doing that. We were just up at Preparation Canyon in the Loess Hills State Forest, and man, those trails, they really need remapped because I'm pretty sure they were in that area where the wildfire was that kind of ravaged those trails. So that was really nice to hear those people out when I was actually walking, like saying, encouraging our project and really looking forward to being able to use the information that we were collecting and compiling.
For me, the most memorable hikes I've had are the ones that I wasn't expecting. And went looking for a hike, and then suddenly I'm on this trail, and it just seems to imprint a little bit better with me.
Yeah.
I did one in North Georgia that I was looking for a trailhead, and then after I got there, I found out it was private and I couldn't access it. So I saw a lot of cars parked, and there was a stream and kind of a lot of rocks, not a lot of water, but it was really pretty. And I decided, you know what? I'm not taking the trail. I'm boulder crawling all the way up this stream. And it was just a gorgeous day, one that I wasn't expecting. Did some hikes in Arizona that was not expecting it was going to be like that. Happened to just, at the last minute, looked up Chiricahua National Monument and ended up there, and wow, it's just gorgeous. Yeah. So we have a lot of places all around, and I think that we can put the Loess Hills in with that group. To me, it belongs there, so we can bring people here and showcase what it is that we have, and your maps and everything and all that work that you've been doing is going to help make that happen, I believe.
Definitely, yeah. We're, that's the goal of this, is to increase trail access for the public, and also just to increase awareness of the Loess Hills and the importance of the Loess Hills, the importance of prairie ecosystem, grassland birds. So yeah, it's we're just really excited about this project and kind of raising the profile of the Loess Hills.
Is there a timeline that we know that the maps will be available to everyone?
So like I said, some of the stuff is already viewable on Google. So if you go onto Google Maps in particular, you'll be able to see some of the new trail overlays for these parks. You don't have to do anything. They should just appear when you zoom in to the parks. Some of the parks have that 360-degree imagery already added, but we're still working with the data and working with Google to get that stuff implemented. That trail signage I mentioned at the Loess Hills State Forest, I'm not quite sure what the timetable on that is. Hopefully sometime in the spring or the summer. And then as far as we're making a printed trail guide booklet, like a little 5x7 booklet. That should, hopefully, the goal is to have that available by the Loess Hills Prairie Seminar, which is the weekend after Memorial Day. So
I would encourage anyone to get out, and you can go back to the same trail in a different season and have a completely different experience. You going in the fall was going to be, which is one of my favorite times because you get that smell of fallen leaves and everything. It really kind of puts my mind in a certain place.
And there's no bugs usually.
That's the great part too. Or springtime is another time to go again with the no bugs, because I've gone Preparation Canyon in the summertime and there was a 1 or 2 or 20,000 mosquitoes. I mean, there's quite a few. So you just have to prepare that that's going to be the case. But still, get out, enjoy the trails, And thank you so much for the work that you're doing here and for your willingness to come in and tell us about it. This is a cool project.
Yeah.
And this is I'm glad that we have it here, and I'm hoping that helps raise a little bit more awareness for what we have locally for everyone to enjoy.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. And people can check out Golden Hills' social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our website as well for updates on this project, and look for a date on when they can go out and get these trail guides.
Perfect. All right, Seth, thank you so
All right.
much for your time.
Yep.
Grateful.
Thanks, Todd.
Next time you're in Walnut, be sure to stop into Frosting Inc., your sweet destination for gourmet cupcakes, cookies, and artisan baked goods made with care and creativity. When you step inside the storefront, you find small batch candles, homemade jams, local honey, tallow-based skincare, artisan snack mixes, and everything else that comes along with the bakery. It is more than a bakery. It's a celebration of quality and community. Frosting Inc. in Walnut, Iowa. And here on Pottawattamie County Roots, we explore the places that keep our region, make our region home, and the people who keep them connected. That is why we are proud to feature Marnie Elkhorn Communications, your local communications provider, serving Marnie, Elkhorn, Walnut, Avoca, and other southwest Iowa towns with high-speed fiber internet, reliable phone service, and TV options built for rural living. With real local support and unlimited data plans, you get speeds up to 1 gig to work, stream, and stay in touch with family and neighbors. Visit metc.net to learn more and get connected today. Thanks again, Seth Brooks, for joining us today. Great work on that trail mapping, and I'm looking forward to seeing even more of those videos. My name's Todd Studer, and we will see you back here tomorrow morning.